Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's start a whole new series here. This one actually just based on a random entry there from the cryptids.wiki.com website. As always, whatever the random entry lands on, then I'll just go ahead and feature it here. This one has to do with a monster that actually mimics a legendary creature that we all know about. In fact, the similarities are so close, it makes you wonder why they aren't the exact same creature, but they're not. They're very close, but not quite 100%, and I'll illustrate some of those examples. It's also found here in the US, so those of you that happen to live in some areas I'm going to talk about here in a minute, lucky you, you'll be able to actually have a potential encounter with this cryptid, although that could also be very, very dangerous. And in fact, you're looking at a representation of it now. It goes by several names, but its main name is known as the Rougarou. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the fascinating info associated with this very interesting, almost legendary-like creature. So what is this Rougarou? Well, again, it has several names. Another name that is known is the Loup-garou, and the reason for this is because the names themselves equate what the creature is. Loup actually means wolf, and then garou means turning into an animal. That gives you an idea of what it is. It's a shapeshifter. Isn't that crazy? A shape-shifting monster. That's essentially what this is. On ordinary days, ordinary circumstances, it's just a regular person, a regular man in most cases, although I imagine also women can come into play with this. But yes, on the other days, it actually turns into a monster. And the monster it turns into is none other than a very, very close representation of the werewolf. We've all heard those classic tales of the werewolf, those infamous black and white movies as well. Same concept, but here it has to be done with the Rougarou. And talking about that, let's talk about its actual physical characteristics. So yes, this shape-shifting monster, once it turns into that werewolf-like creature, imagine a man suddenly becoming more muscular, more powerful, and then it has the classic big eyes, in this case reddish type eyes, and then it has the same body of a man, but its head actually morphs into a wolf or a dog. And then also it tends to have like this hairy look to it, either short hair or long hair. And then of course it has these canine-like teeth that are considered very powerful as it goes on the hunt. Again, very, very similar to the werewolf itself. And then, in fact, if you wanted to find where this creature is located, it's actually going to be here in the U.S. You have to go towards the New Orleans area. There's an area there called the Swamps of Acadiana, and then another area nearby, the greater New Orleans area, that this monster makes its place. But that's essentially what this creature looks like. Ordinary man by day, but then other times it's a different creature, in this case more on the lines of a werewolf. Where the differences come into play, though, is this. It is a shapeshifter at will, meaning it doesn't require either nighttime or some other type of attribute that's normally associated with a werewolf to be able to turn into this werewolf-like creature. It can turn into it whenever it wants. It basically has that ability to do so. This makes it actually more scarier than some of the other legendary werewolves, because here you have a situation where this creature, you could just be walking by it, let's say in an alleyway out there in the middle of the day. You're passing by a regular person, it's almost like eyeing you, but obviously like surreptitiously. And then once you pass it, in an instant, it can turn into a werewolf right behind your back, and then all of a sudden it's on you. And in fact, it uses its amazing abilities to be able to hunt for creatures, and it uses that to be able to continue its bloodline, so to speak. Apparently, anyone that gets bitten by this type of creature, this Rougarou, eventually turns into a Rougarou, or in some cases, and this is a little bit more extreme, I want to see more proof on this, but apparently if you just happen to look into its big red glowing eyes, that's enough for you to become a Rougarou as well. Although, again, like that would take more believability. Now we're talking about the world of werewolves and so on. But here, imagine like that happening. There would be a lot more of these Rougarou around, right? There would be like a bunch more of them just walking around looking at people, and then all of a sudden those people become these creatures, and then those people look at others and they become those creatures. You could see how that is a little bit more harder to believe when it comes to that. But no, otherwise the other factor about it getting bitten, that's where it gets transferred to that living person, and it almost becomes a curse. Like it's where this person, especially if they don't want to be a Rougarou, is now cursed to forever have it within its blood. Who knows how they're able to get rid of it, but at least that's the almost damning thing that they have to now consider. And in fact, it's so much of a curse and it's so much of a bad effect that this is almost like a scary tale that's used to children to be able to let them know, if you don't do this, like in terms of good activity, then the Rougarou will come out and get you. And then also, apparently, Catholics use this as a way to instruct people to follow Lent. If they don't follow it, at least to the guidelines stated, then this Rougarou will be able to come out and then start hunting them down. And then that way it's their way of almost scaring people to follow what they should follow. And then as far as an area there, if you wanted to know if it's inhabited by this werewolf type creature, you pretty much only have to look at the physical evidence left of it. So in other words, if there's cow mutilations that are found in the location, but there's hardly any blood to no blood left in the body, then yep, you definitely have a Rougarou there in your location. And this could also be like chupacabra, but still, at least you have this situation where this creature absolutely enjoys sucking on the blood, very much like, again, like the chupacabra, down to the last drop, and then that's pretty much it. But yeah, no more information really associated with this creature. It's down there somewhere in the swamps of Acadiana, somewhere by the greater New Orleans area. If those of you that happen to live there, if you know more information on a local level, then please post those comments below. That'd be really, really great to hear. But interestingly enough, even though this creature is almost like a more obscure cryptid, it still has its own form of entertainment. Like, in other words, there's a ride that's at an amusement park there in Ohio that's called the Rougarou Ride. You can see that picture of it here. Easily enough, you can think that this is a creature that, for some reason, somebody was a fan of it when they were designing the ride, and then they decided, let's go ahead and make this the official mascot of this creature. But yeah, and then also there was a blue dog painting that was done by an artist by the name of George Rodriguez, and he in turn also placed the Rougarou within it. So lo and behold, it looks like this legendary or famous artist heard about this monster and then decided to put him there within one of his paintings too. So less obscure cryptid, but still enough to be able to take on some other forms or mediums of entertainment. But again, if anybody has any more info, especially on the local side, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Anybody hear about local tales? Maybe those of you in those areas, scary areas that you want to avoid and so on, then please post those comments below. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.